Okay, hi everyone, and welcome back. So we are here in Blender, and when we open up our bearded Laura dev kit, it should look a bit like this. You should be greeted with just a skeleton, a glowing skeleton waiting for you to put a body on it. So I'm going to turn on our screencast because I always forget to turn it on. I'm gonna switch it over to text. That way you can see right mouse, left mouse, all that jazz instead of trying to look at that little icon. See, I read the comments. Okay, so when you turn it on, you should see the skeleton, and you need to put a body on it. We're going to turn our attention over here to like I forgot what this panel is called. It's called the outliner panel, and it has a bunch of parts here that are waiting to be activated. You can see they're not activated because the eyes are closed on it, but when you click an eye, you'll see a part of the body pop open. Now, on the last last version of the Bearded Lord dev kit, we just had the layers on here, and they didn't really have suggestions on there. So people were rigging to the wrong layer and then complaining that the garment didn't fit. So Turnips, the one who made it, Bearded Turnips, love that lady, love her so much, has put suggestions as to what layer you want to build on, because you know the Maitreya body is made up of multiple layers. It's the body layer, which is the actual one that we get to see, and then on top of that is a clothing layer, and then a tattoo layer, and then an underwear layer. So they are each on the body, and they're all different distances away from the main body. So if you were to rig on the wrong one, your clothes may actually go into it or be too far apart. So she wrote on the side recommended for which part depending on what you plan on making. So because we're going to just make a pair of clothes, like a t-shirt and a pair of pants or shorts, depending on what I feel like doing right now, we're going to work on using the clothing layer. This puts it on a layer that's just outside of the main body layer. Now, I bet you're wondering, why don't we use the body layer for making clothes like that? Well, when we use it in a rig to the body layer, I found that the clothes tend to either go into the body or they go like into the body and they don't quite fit right. The rigging is off. So the best layer for making mesh clothing is, oddly enough, going to be the clothing layer. So that's what we're going to work on today. From here, you could just choose your feet or hands. It doesn't really matter. Let's see. I'm going to use the flat feet because I always thought it was weird trying to make clothes with your high feet on, unless you're making a dress or something like that. But anyway, flat feet. And then we're going to choose either between the classical hands, or gloves. So I'm just going to stick with classical hands. The kit does contain the bento hands, but the bento hands are not rigged. I think it's just rigged up to the wrist, but the finger poses and stuff like that don't have any weights to it. So let me see real quick. So you see, no hands when it comes to the bento thing. So I guess that's just showing you like where it is in position of it, but the hand isn't rigged. So I like to just stick with the classical ones because that one is rigged. So we're gonna have this here. With this kit, you cannot make skin textures like you could with the last kit. Turnips is not as malicious as I am, so she removed the UV for the body, so you can't do like we did before when we had your own skin texture on there, unless you unwrap it and put your own, line it up with the Second Life thing yourself, then you'll have it. But this one does not have that, so you cannot put your skin texture on this model. Sorry, that's just how it is. I think people would rather prefer to have something that is more accurate and then texturing. So whatever, if you want to work with textures or something for this body, I suggest you go back to the Sublimely Magnificent dev kit. Anyway, so now that we have our body all set, we're going to need to do some prep work so we can export it out into Marvelous Designer. Because the Maitreya has such thick thighs, it makes for making pants a little difficult. So what I like to do is to spread the legs apart. So I'm going to, first start off in object mode. You're going to click on the loops, and you're going to switch from object mode to pose mode. Then you're going to press R, and then you're going to spread the legs apart just a little bit. just so that there's a big enough gap that your pants won't get stuck in between here, or worst case scenario, Marvelous Designer fuses it into one big mono pant right here, and it is a pain in the butt to try to correct it. So I found that it's a lot easier just to spread the legs apart like this, and that will give us something to work with. So now that we have this saved, we're just going to click on our avatar. So right click on your avatar, hold down shift, click on all the parts you want to export. If you find that the bones keep getting in the way, you can just go into object mode and select the first layer. That way they're not there. And because they're not here, you can actually just press A and it will select everything for you. So I'm going to press G and you can see that everything's selected, and then right click and have it snap back. Alright, so once we have our avatar all selected, we're ready to export it so we can use it in Marvelous Designer. So just go File, Export, OBJ, and I'm going to save it to my desktop, but you can save it anywhere you want. And I'm just going to name this Lara Body.obj. And before we export, we're going to scroll down and we're going to make sure that this box right here that says selection only is checked. And I'm going to uncheck this box right here that says include UVs, because I know there's no texture on it, but just in case there was a texture, it won't jack up everything. So I'm just going to uncheck that box. And if you want, you can press this little plus button and you can save this as Marvelous Designer Models. That way you don't have to worry about if you checked it. Now that you have it right, you can always come back here and then check it from the preset, and then you already have all your boxes checked. So it's a good time saver when you're trying to rush through the things. As you can see, I did it a number of times for every one of my other tutorials, so you won't have that many when you go and do it. So once we have all that stuff checked, you're just going to hit Export OBJ and then wait for it to finish, and that's it. So now we have our model exported and ready to be used in Marvelous Designer. We can go in Marvelous Designer and start designing our clothes. So I'll see you guys over in Marvelous Designer, and yeah, see you there.